Here we are again for another wonderful It's Within Your Reach T.R.I.U.M.P system for a total mind, fitness, well-being workout. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who is in the house? Let's get some comments and hellos in the comments and where you're coming in from, what's going on in your life today. It's in the 8th week, I think, of lockdown in the UK, plus my extra 2 weeks, so we're talking about 10 weeks lockdown. Some of you might be going back to work, some of you might be already in work, been working the whole time. Some of you have been in the house, some of you are coming from different countries where you're already not in lockdown. You might be coming in from a country that never was in lockdown. For goodness sake, there's so many different things going on. Please say hello in the comments. You are in the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing Workout, where we meet every morning, Monday to Thursday at 11 a.m. UK time. And here we are again. And it's Thursday. It's the last day of the week. Let me ask you a question. When I was young, there used to be a song in Glasgow called I Belong to Glasgow. Now, I'm going to spare you my version of it. It's usually sung on a Saturday night for good reason. I belong to Glasgow. Belonging. What and who and where do you belong? Belonging is so important to human beings. Where are we? Where do we belong? Who do we belong to? Who belongs to us? That's what we're discussing today on the It's Within Your Reach Total Mind Fitness program using the T.R.I.U.M.P system. So here we are on the end of this week talking about belonging. We're using the Trauma to Triumph system, the Triumph system we've been working on every day now for a few weeks. And we're talking about transforming our behavior and our habits. And if you've been following this, we've been learning skills and discussing this all the way, how we can transform our behavior in order to, and there needs to be, a purpose for this, to bring our life to a higher quality with meaning and purpose. In other words, that our behavior that we behave with on a daily basis, the more that it's in tune with our values, with what's important to us, with what matters to us, with our meaning and purpose in life, the higher quality and satisfaction we'll get out of our lives. And the opposite is true too. If we behave in a way that is in opposition to what we think matters and what we think is important in our lives, and away from who is important in our lives, and away from what is important in our lives, then there's a much higher chance that the quality of our life is going to be much lower. All right. So what we are doing in this T.R.I.U.M.P system is going through a number of modules that will help us, first of all, examine who we are, examine our behaviors. Not all of our behaviors are not good for us. There's a lot of behaviors that are really good for us. So we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? What we want to do is examine what is useful to us, what in our behaviors is really working. And there can be wonderful things that are working. And the way that we examine this is, first of all, understanding what's important to us. Who and what is important to us? Well, it's a basic question, but a basic question that we tend not to ask ourselves that much. Who's important to me? If I was to ask you now to write down a list of who is important to you, who would you put in it? Write it in the comments. Who is important to you? Stick it in the comments right now. Who is important to you? Right? And likewise, we can have what? What is important to me? What gives my life a sense of meaning and purpose? What functions? What tasks? What responsibilities? What in my life gives me a sense of meaning and purpose? What is important to me? Right? So we've got two questions basically here. Very, very simple and basic questions, but very deep. They're not superficial. These are basically the building blocks of what can make our life much higher in quality, in depth, in meaning, in purpose, in satisfaction. And that's kind of what most of us are looking for. We're really not looking for miserable lives, right? We cannot control the outer circumstances of our life. We really can't. The weather. If it starts raining now, we don't have that in our control. So we might really be wanting a sunny day, and as it happens, where I am, it's a beautiful sunny day, gorgeous. And I'm going to really go out there and tend to my new family of plants and seedlings and everything that I've been doing in these times of lockdown. I've kind of started off my garden. Okay, so that's become a what? That's become a what's important to me. But these are basic questions, and we tend to have really busy lives, and we tend to be doing things in a lot of automatic behavior, like we spoke about yesterday. And if you haven't seen my video on automatic behavior, then just go into the archives and you'll see that. And we tend to go through life in this automatic way. And if it starts raining, it starts raining. There's nothing much we can do about it. We can say and stand in the rain. Let's say we were, walking through a park or a forest, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and all of a sudden it starts to rain. So we can stop in our tracks, we can look up to the sky, and we can say, I don't want it to rain. Right? It's still raining, getting wet. I didn't plan for this rain. I planned for the sunny day. So I've got my t-shirt on, and I've got my shorts on, I've got my sunglasses on, and the clouds are coming in, the dark clouds are coming in. It's a bit unexpected, and now I'm getting wet, right? I'm getting really, really wet. So what do I do? So if I'm standing there shouting, oh, I don't want this rain, I don't want this rain, maybe I'll just sit down. Maybe I'll just sit down and say, look, I'll stamp my feet first. If I want, I'll sit down on the ground in a big, massive, wet puddle, and I don't want this rain. Now, we have to ask ourselves, all right? And this is a lot of the times we don't ask ourselves. We just sit in the puddle and splash around and shout and scream about, the bad weather, this is really bad weather, this is really bad weather, I can't stand living here, but the bad weather, the bad weather, the bad weather. Well, Billy Connolly said it in Glasgow, said, there's no such thing as bad weather, it's just you're wearing the wrong clothes. All right? So what does that mean? It means, look, you can sit and splash around and, blame God, blame the weatherman, got it wrong. He told you it was going to be a sunny day. And so you dressed appropriately and went out for a sunny day. But it's not a sunny day, is it? It's a rainy day. It's a rainy day, and you've been told it was going to be sun, and you relied on that, and you went out, and now it's not. Now you're sitting down on the ground in the mud, getting absolutely drenched, and just splashing around, complaining that it's not sunny, and so we can have that situation. Or we can do what we can and what is in our control. And what is in our control is how we respond to situations that are not in our control. So let's carry on with the rain metaphor. So it's pouring of rain. And so, I can continue walking to my destination, right? And let's say the destination was just a, walk in the park. Well, that might not be a very useful thing to do now, because I don't want to get too wet, because then I might catch a cold and goodness knows what. So I turn around and I start walking towards my car or towards my home or wherever I've come from. That's a useful thing to do. Yeah, I'm still getting wet, but I have now a sense of purpose and meaning to my walk, and my walk is to get to a dry place. While I'm walking, I might notice that there's a few other people out there, and they may be better prepared than me. So they might have an umbrella. So if I was a friendly type of person, I could walk up to them and I could start talking with them and maybe share that umbrella. And while I share that umbrella with them, we're having a nice chat and we're walking along, and I'm getting less wet than I would be if I didn't have that shared umbrella. And then when I get to the car, I realize that these people that very kindly let me share their umbrella don't have a car, and they were going to walk home. So instead of letting them walk home, even though they've got an umbrella, but it's getting windy and it's cold, I can offer them now if they would like a ride in my car. And then when they have a ride in my car, they're a little bit warmer and they're much drier. And of course, I can take them to their doorstep. Now that is a sense of human cooperation. That is a sense of belonging to a society, belonging to a community where we can support each other. Even if we don't know each other that well, but there's a sense of support. There's a sense of nurturing a relationship of togetherness. So put in the comments what is important to you. Who's important to you? So if it's important to you, for instance, to be compassionate and to share your life and to include others in it, then that could be a great what. And there could be a who, There's family, friends, colleagues, community members, neighbors, the world, my fellow countrymen, my world citizens, whoever it is for you. One thing that we forget a lot of the times is to put ourselves on that list. That we are important to ourselves. Because if we're not important to ourselves, why should we expect anyone else to look at us from a sense of importance, from a sense of belonging, from a sense of being what matters to them? We need to take care of ourselves, and we need to put ourselves on that list of who is important in order for us to eventually help others. So what we are, where we are on our journey of transforming our behavior and habits is we're already on our habits. And our habits is about this automatic behavior. It's about this fixed way of thinking. Well, I've never belonged and I'm independent and I'm this and I'm that. And, that's what I do. That's who I am. And so we practice that kind of behavior, and we repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And if we repeat it so much that it could be that we're not even aware of it anymore. And so maybe we're sitting at home and we're thinking to ourselves, I've got no friends. Nobody knows me. And there's a lot of loneliness out there. A lot of people are lonely. I'm not talking about being alone. I, at the moment, for the last 10 weeks, have been alone in my house. Not going out, lockdown. Nobody's come into my house. Nobody's come out of my house. And I'm alone. But I'm not lonely. Because there's a difference of being physically alone and being lonely. Lonely is a kind of a spiritual aloneness where we have no contact with other people. And so I sit there and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm so lonely. I don't talk to anybody. I've got no friends. I've got no acquaintances. I don't know my neighbors. Right? And we get into this lack of awareness that it becomes so embedded in our behavior that we can start to suffer from that. And then we know that the more that we are not connected, the more our health can suffer, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. So we have to ask ourselves, is our behavior, the way that we behave, and the way that we behave is the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we move, the way we look, the way we think, what we feel, everything is in our behavior. And that, a lot more of it is in our control. So is the way that I behave outwardly and inwardly towards myself, is this nurturing an atmosphere of connectedness? Is this nurturing that connectedness with myself and the others in the world? Or is this detaching, deconnecting from myself and the world? Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Just examine our behavior. Ask yourself, is what I'm doing now useful? Is it worthwhile? Is it adding to my life? Is it adding to the connectedness of my life and those around me? Okay, so that's what we're talking about. And we talked yesterday about the 4 questions. You know, what am I seeking out of my life? How is it that I actually want to behave? Right, so I might be involved in my habits, and my habits are, as we spoke about, they're well ingrained. They've got wide neural passageways. They're easier to do. Some of our habits are really useful, so we're going to leave them alone. These are great. But these habits that are really working against us in the long term, they might be giving us short-term relief of something that's painful, something that's distressful, yeah. But in the long term, they're doing us damage. So we have to ask ourselves, is the way that I behave useful for me? Does it have meaning and purpose? Does it give my life a sense of quality? Or is it something that's really not beneficial to me? So what am I seeking? That's the first question we have to ask. In what way do I want to live? And then if we say, oh, well, you know what, there's lots of things that I don't want to do, but it's very difficult. I can't give them up. I can't do this. I just, I really want to change, but I'm finding it very difficult to change. Yeah, change is sometimes very difficult. So we have to ask ourselves, what have we tried? What have we done in our life that has made it in a way that would be easier for us to change and would be easier for us to actually live the way we wanted to? Now, if we've not tried anything, then what we've always done, we will, if we continue doing that, we'll get what we always got, right? So if we're not changing, we don't expect to see something different. I think Einstein even said something like that, right? So if you carry on doing what you've always done, you'll get what you always get. If you keep repeating and repeating your behavior and expecting something else to happen, then you're not understanding the way things work. So our outcomes will be, dependent on how we behave now. So we have to ask ourselves, what have we been doing up until now? And even if we've been doing good things up until now, what got us here might not get us there, So we have to re-examine. We have to say to ourselves, is it relevant what I'm doing now for moving on? When I was smoking cigarettes when I was a teenager, it was possibly relevant at the time because it gave me that social status. It gave me that belonging of a group. But as I got older and wiser and understood that the dangers, the long-term dangers, the long-term health dangers, eventually it became antisocial, it's smelly. Once I understood all of these things, the cost, becomes more than the benefit. So we ask ourselves, what have I done up until now? And then we ask ourselves, is it working? Is that working really? Is that really useful for me, the way that I work, the way that I do things, the way that I speak to people? the way that I treat myself, how I treat my body, how I treat my mind, how I treat my spiritual being of sense of meaning and purpose. Is this working the way that I'm behaving? I mean, these are, deep questions. This T.R.I.U.M.P system is about examining our behavior in order to increase the chance that we'll have a higher quality of life. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's just that this is a very, very complete system for examining and teaching us skills on how to raise the quality of our life. But we need to examine our behavior. So we have to ask, is it working what I'm doing? Has it worked up until now? Even I've been trying to give up smoking, but, I've been doing it in a particular way. Has it worked? No, it's not worked. Okay. So what I'm doing, is it working? Is it helping? Is it useful? And then we have to ask ourselves, what's the long-term cost here? Is it worth that short-term relief when, have a cigarette, when or a drink, or I'll go to the gym, or whatever it is I'm doing to avoid my real experience? Is this habit, is it costing me more than I'm benefiting? Is it costing on my health? Is it costing on my physical health? Is it costing on my mental health? Is it costing my spiritual health? Is it in the end going to give me less years? Is it in the end going to give me years but less quality? And we have to ask ourselves these questions. I'm not judging. I'm not telling you what to do. This is your business. This is your choice. All I want to do is to give you, if possible, a higher chance of having freedom of choice. And having freedom of choice means examining both sides, right? Is this way of working beneficial for me, or is this way of working maybe more beneficial for me, right? This is useful. This is not so useful. What that is up to you. That's why we have to start with, what are you seeking? It's what you're seeking. It's not what I'm seeking, not what your parents are seeking, not what your children are seeking, not what your neighbors are seeking, not what your employer is seeking. No, we're asking about what you are seeking in your life. And then ask yourself, compared to what you're seeking, is what you're doing useful? Right? That's what we have to ask. So once you've gone through these 4 questions, and we went into yesterday in much more detail, and so I suggest, if you want to know a little bit more about these 4 questions, that you watch the video from yesterday. But today we're talking about belonging. Now, we are social creatures. That's what human beings are. We're people. People like other people, People need other people. Need to feel that sense of belonging. Need to feel that we have, usually, most people have a desire to connect. And this connection can be many, many different things, different groups. We're a group type species. We're no use on our own. Anyone that thinks that they're an island, as they say, that they're totally can manage on their own, are not following what the results of studies tell us. And that tells us is that if we're on our own, and we continue to be on our own, and we believe that being on our own is the right thing to do, there are very few of us, and you may be an exception, but there are very few of us that will be beneficial for. Without judgment, we're just talking about the results of studies. The results of studies says that human beings have a desire to connect. Human beings have a need to connect. We work better. We are healthier. We have better mental health. We have better physical health. We have better spiritual health when we're in a group, when we feel that we belong, when we feel that people are part of us, that we have the ability to share and to be shared too. We want to value and be valued. We want to support and be supported. We want to need and feel needed. In short, we want to belong. Now, this is from birth. You know, we can tell that, you know, a new baby comes into the life of the parents. They don't know this thing, but yet there's a feeling of belonging. And that baby needs for us to have that feeling of belonging, because a baby cannot take care of itself. So it needs carers. It needs already that sense that this baby belongs to us. And I'm not talking about ownership. I'm talking about spiritual belonging. I'm talking about being together. I'm talking about responsibility. I'm talking about feeling responsible for each other, for having a support system. And many, many studies have told us that having a support system, knowing that somebody is thinking about you, knowing that somebody is concerned about you, knowing that somebody caring about you, gives you a higher quality of life, a longer life, a healthier life, more mentally healthier, physical healthier, and spiritual healthier. And it all starts when you're born and going through childhood. We know already that when a child feels that they have a great and high quality attachment with their parents, the carers, and this will serve them well throughout their life. And if there's not a good attachment, if there's not a sense of trust, a sense of belonging, a sense of having support from their parents, then they will turn off their emotions, turn off their feelings, turn off, and maybe possibly even become hyper vigilant. Always wondering, is my parent going to do this? Is my parent going to do that? They're not consistent. Sometimes they do respond very nicely and lovingly, and sometimes they don't. And it's very, very not clear why this time like this and why like this. All sorts of different ways we experience life with our carers and parents as we're growing up affects us later on. Yes, we know. It doesn't mean we can't, as we're older, understand this and change our behavior accordingly, but it's still there. This feeling of being needed is really important to us. It's really important when two human beings, you know, the minimum, when they communicate with each other, they're able to look at each other, they're able to absorb that social, the signs and signals that we give off. It's not always about just, you know, the talk that comes out of our mouth. It's the way we look, it's the way we act, it's the body language, it's the non-verbal communication that helps build that sense of belonging. Really, really important. It's really important if what is important to you is having a higher quality life. It's really important if what's important to you is having a healthy mental, physical, emotional, spiritual life. You know, if that's not important to you, well then no point in even watching this. But if that's part of what's important to you, then what you're learning here under the T.R.I.U.M.P system is a fully comprehensive system on how to examine your behavior, how to learn skills to improve your behavior. Improving mean to bring your behavior in line with what's important to you. This is about individual work, an individual work that will raise the quality of your life. And if your quality of life is raised, you will be able to raise the quality of life of those around you, your loved ones, your family, your neighbors, your friends, your community. And if we can all get involved in this, then we can nurture a caring community. And one caring community can nurture another caring community, and so on and so forth. And we can build a sense of caring and nurturing and shared purpose of all of us who populate this planet. Shared purpose. What are we all doing here? What's the purpose of us being here? Right? It's great having physical health. It's great having mental health. It's great having spiritual health. But what's the purpose and meaning? Now, we will all have our individual purpose and meaning. And our individual purpose and meaning are the basic building blocks. It's really important. But what's the purpose of meaning as our small group, as a family? You know, are we just eating and drinking and sleeping? Or do we have a sense of shared purpose? What's the sense of shared purpose in the workplace? Are we just going there, typing, talking on the phone, whatever it is, having meetings, getting a paycheck at the end of the month and carrying on? That's it? Or is there a sense of shared purpose of the people that are working in the company? And that shared purpose, with the shared leadership, with leadership coming down and saying, are we all in this together? Is there a sense of shared purpose in this company? All right. Is this company promoting physical health? Is it promoting emotional and mental well-being? Is it promoting spiritual health? Is this company helping all of its people that are part of it progress in their individual sense of shared purpose and in their individual sense of purpose and meaning that can clock in, that can join that wider sense of shared purpose in the company? Okay. And again, with the community, is there a sense of shared purpose in the community that fits in with what's important to me, what matters to me? Am I finding this with others in this community? And this community doesn't have to always be a physical community. We're building a community here right now, and it's within your Reach Thrive program. The people that are involved with this, the people have a sense of shared purpose. The shared purpose here is a shared learning of how to increase the quality of our lives, how to learn skills and how to do that. That in itself causes a sense of shared purpose. We're all in this together. We're all going in that direction of increasing our shared purpose, increasing the quality of our lives, learning together. Okay? And then we can share that outwards. We can spread the word outwards and help others by teaching others these things that we're learning here ourselves. It's not about being selfish. It's not about just learning it for me. It's about learning how to care so that I can care for others, so that I can be part of a community, so that I can belong to whatever part of community that I'm talking about. So that's belong to my family, belong to my neighbors, belong to my community, belong to my city, and I'm not talking about ownership belonging. I'm talking about spiritual connection. I'm talking about sense of shared purpose, shared meaning, building together, supporting together. These are all the things that we know from studies, from solid science, that not only is a prevention of emotional and mental and psychological disorder, but also physical disorder. Okay, so these things are prevention against all of that. If what we're interested, if what's important to you is health, generally holistic, we spoke about this in past videos. You can go back to the H in behavior, which is about being holistic. Holistic is taking in our physical life, our mental life, our emotional life, spiritual life, and building a holistic life. If that's what's important to you, then you're in the right place. If that's what's important to you, that's what we're doing here. We're building a sense of community. We're building a sense of peer-to-peer help. We're building a sense of learning together. We're building a sense of doing together. And that is what today is all about. It's about learning, about belonging, about examining. Is our behavior promoting this? Is it promoting a sense of belonging? Or is it taking us away? How is it affecting our relationships, that behavior that we have? Is it damaging our relationships? If we're honest and we really want to know, is it damaging the relationship between ourselves and our loved ones? Maybe we get angry really, really easily and we start shouting and screaming and banging doors and throwing plates or anything. We have to ask ourselves, is that behavior nurturing a loving, belonging relationship with those around me, or is it kind of taking me away from that? Maybe I'm working 20 hours a day, right? It doesn't have to be anything sinister. Let's say I'm working 20 hours a day and I'm bringing in lots of money, right? And I'm sending my kids to private schools and all the things, but I never see them. We have to ask ourselves, is that behavior really useful in certain circumstances? It absolutely is. But is it really nurturing? Is it nurturing that sense of belonging to my family? Maybe I'm, a multimillionaire, but I'm sitting at home alone and I have no connection. And there's definitely a lot of people like that are very wealthy financially and materialistically, but they have absolutely nobody to share it with. And so when you sit down with them and ask them, do you have a high quality of life? They'll say, look, I've got all the materialistic things, but I don't have a high quality of life because I've got nobody to share this with. Even to share your ideas, even to share your fantasies, even to share your dreams and visions. We like to share our experiences. It's no coincidence that storytelling, has been with us since Adam and Eve, right? Storytelling is about sitting around together, whether you're around a campfire or whether you're in somebody's lounge or whether you're sitting in a restaurant, wherever it is. We like to sit together and tell stories. It doesn't have to be intricate stories, but of our experiences. Stories that we have of our experiences is something that people love to hear. So that sense of belonging is something that we want to really try to examine first of all. And, just to know that there's somebody there. If you need a £10, $10, 10 shekels, whatever it is, you really need it, you can ask somebody and you'll get it. Or if somebody asks you, you're going to be able to tap them a few times. Okay? Or if you can't afford it, you'll go around and you'll help them empty the bins. Or you will, help them clean up. Or you'll just say a nice, kind word to them. Having belonging and support will not only help you, build bonds with other people, but it will help you actually, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and will allow you to help others. So thank you for joining me again for another episode of Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing Workout. It is within your reach. This is not something that is rocket science. It's about doing the work, asking the 4 questions, and going out and doing something about it. This is the T.R.I.U.M.P. system. My name is Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman. Thank you for joining me.